The fact that we have one, maybe two, recognizable names in this industry that are women is a joke. There's more than enough seats at the table to go around. There's more than enough money to make 10 Jocelyn's and Jonitas.
Do you still feel like sort of female artists and musicians are still put in that box?
They want us to keep fighting. They want us to be in little boxes because we're not supposed to be smart enough to come out and say why.
Lisa, it is so wonderful to have you on The Hot Take. Thanks for being here.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
I want to start by taking you back in time to June 2018, if I'm not wrong. You were working in a data analytics job in the US. Rhea Kapoor reaches out to you to be a part of the music album of Virili Wedding because she follows your work on YouTube. I'm curious to know what that first year was like. You've quit your job, you moved to Bombay, you obviously have this very exciting break, but then there's life after that as an artist. So what was it like navigating the city, the industry, all of it?
First of all, I want to say thank you for asking me this question because no one ever does. I think we all get stuck in the moment.
Yeah.
There's so much of me answering about that thing and how it happened. So we all know how it happened at this point.
But what next?
Yeah. I think for me, the decision was more because of my age, that I could, take a leave from work. Because I come from a very just normal, educated family who expected me to do X job, then go get my MBA.
Safe.
Yeah, and then, career-wise move in that very planned out, typical direction. But I asked my parents, I was like, what do you think I should do? Because I'm watching this song from another continent be number one, and I'm not there. Yeah. Not to just enjoy it, but like to see what could come afterwards. And they're like, you're 24. I just turned 24. So they're like, you have time right now, if you'd like, to take a little sabbatical and go for 6 months, test it out. And if nothing happens, come back. It's not going to look terrible on your resume. Even then, I wasn't comfortable with that answer. So I took on an internship here.
Interesting.
And I worked at a bakery and did data for them on the side because I was like, well, I don't want that big of a gap either. And if something works out while I'm there, more opportunities come, then great, I'll leave this internship as well. Because somewhere in my brain, this NRI mentality had been drilled in, like we sacrificed everything to come to this country so you could become someone. Yeah. So I was like, I had this narrative in my head that I can't abandon my career or my education. So I showed up here, you're interfacing with people that you have only heard about or seen on screen. It was bizarre. It was really bizarre and it was really all-consuming. I feel like the first 6 months, when you're that young, and I feel like when you're that inexperienced, you think this is just life now. You're like, oh, okay, I like this. There's a bunch of important people in the room and they're all looking at me and it's always going to be like this. Yeah. But time passes you by really quickly and I'd come to the end of the year and I hadn't made another song. And it wasn't that I was worried about where my career was going because the visibility was so high. Yeah. You realize there's other, revenue streams. You're getting booked for shows or you're getting brand work, but where's my next song? Because that's what I came here to do.
So the money part of it
was working out slowly. It was starting to shape up. And I got a great agency behind me to back that. Right. And so that was fine, but I was like, that doesn't justify why I'm here. I can't survive on, fame because it's fickle. Yeah. I'm only of this moment now. Yeah. It's not gonna last forever. So then luckily I got a call from Badshah to work on a song of his, and he wanted me to write my own section of it, which I thought was actually quite interesting for somebody to put that much faith in me that he doesn't know me, he doesn't owe me that. Yeah. And also to come from a country that's largely a playback singing space where vocalists, which is what I came here as, or known to be, for him to entrust me with this was really amazing. Yeah. And also gave me this little step up in the industry to, present myself as more than just a singer.
Is it fair to say that for someone at your level at that time, that's fairly rare to be given that opportunity to write as well?
It is impossible to be given that opportunity because I didn't write Tarifa. Yeah. So I had no credentials to present and say that, I can write or you should trust me with this. And at the time, Badshah would have been in the peak of his career because Tarifa was also the biggest song for what would end up becoming the next 2 years. Yeah. So where he was, for him to take a shot on me without any reason to do that, he basically just asked me, do you want to write your own section? And I said, well, I can. And he said, okay, go for it. I submitted this to him at the internship. During lunch, I took a break and I wrote this verse and I went back and forth and I sent it to him. And he was like, no changes, it's locked. And I'll tell you where to show up and we'll record it and we'll move on. So then I was like, I have a job. It went from just being, I have internet fame, to being like, okay, I'm in a room doing work now and I'm officially, employed by the industry.
And this can lead to the next thing.
This can lead to the next thing. So that was what it was. I think it was, initially it was so fun and amazing to be recognized everywhere. Every 5 seconds, somebody would stop me. Wow. If I was walking on the street, somebody would cross from the other side of the street and be like, I'm such a huge fan, oh my God, Tarifa, whatever. And you'd go to dinner. And like, one of my first memories was like Malaika coming up to me and telling me that that moment was so cool and she loved it. She's now a really close friend and like a mentor and such a lovely person. But at that time, I was like, you're not real. You're like a lady on screen I saw growing up. This can't be real. Yeah. So that can become really confusing. And when you're young, it can make you believe that that's what your life is always going to be.
Yeah, I was going to say, does that not risk messing you up to some degree?
100%. I think it over-encourages this sort of like, I don't know, it's like a false sense of confidence, right? Yeah. I was just like, I'm somebody. And it's like, relax. And you didn't even write it. You didn't even compose it. So now you have to show your chops because you have to earn your place here because anybody can show up and say, I can sing. What else do you offer? Yeah. Which is, I think, like part and parcel of the industry is that you are replaceable because we come from a culture of playback singing. You can dub the song and then the day before the release, somebody else will end up being the voice on it. So you have to present other ways to be a viable musician so that you keep having a job and you keep being called back into rooms. And that one shot that Badshah gave me set me up to then be recognized as potentially a composer, a lyricist, a songwriter. And I was like, without that moment, I don't know where I would have been stuck.
Speaking of earning your place, it's now been 7 years since that moment. You recently posted about what you call the biggest moment for you as a musician, making your first fully independent song, no label, no major money, no push, just heart, which is now trending. How difficult was it to get to this part where you are, you are producing it independently, you are writing it, all of it?
I think, let me think about this. I think mostly that moment was born of a lot of frustration. And, I think there's a lot of like pride people take in, I'm an independent musician, I do this, I can do that. And it's an excruciating process. Like it took so much work, it took so much of my own money and financial investment to pull this off. I would never change the way I did this. Yeah. But the backstory is that, after 7 years of facing so much rejection as a musician, and like I say that this week getting in Filmfare, the irony of getting this much faster than I've not received a single award as a musician in the 7 years I've been here. So it was a long and arduous journey until I decided I don't actually want other people's involvement in this process. Because if what's stopping me from being an excellent musician is gatekeepers and people who are larger stakeholders than me in my own work, then I owe it to myself this many years in with the financial capital and backing that I have of my own money to just do this now and stop whining about the process and say, well, this didn't work out because XYZ label didn't, do what they set out to do and promote the way they should.
If you don't get the opportunity, make it happen yourself.
Yeah, and like.
But I imagine that's easier said than done.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. It was such a hard process. It taught me a lot from all ends about how this happens. Also, the biggest difference was this song, I sort of wanted to present something musically that wasn't clouded with a bunch of tech. I think when I made my album, the sound I was exploring was much more dependent on production. And this, I was like, what does it sound like if I just have a bunch of real instruments in the room and people who are expert at playing those and they can co-compose and write and arrange with me. And that brought me back to the best version of myself, the version I'm most close to, which is I've always been part of a band. Yeah. Way before I came to India, I've always been in bands. So it was so familiar for me to fall back into this space and make such a beautiful song. Unequivocally, it's my best song of my career. Even if no one's heard it, that's fine.
But clearly they have, it's trending.
Is it trending? I hope so. But Teri Hu, I think, as a process taught me what it takes to be a musician from beginning to end, like showing that skill and saying I'm really, really good at composing. and I'm really good at arranging these instruments and making sure that the vocals are tight and everything is not overproduced and clouded with sound. It taught me how to be a producer because it's my money to lose.
Yeah.
And I hope we recover it one day. You never know. Maybe it gets a second wind, trends, and ends up synced in a Netflix movie. I'm speaking this into the
Put it out into the universe.
I'm putting this out. Please,
I'll make some phone
please use
calls.
this beautiful song. And it also taught me the importance of relationship management. So many people came through to make this project for me. Yeah. Our director for this is the DOP for Call Me Bae. Now, think about that. What a DOP for Call Me Bae, a major Dharma and #1 Amazon series gets, versus what I'm saying is like, I don't have money. He did it for free. Yeah. So Anuj Samdani, who directed the video, just did it because he wanted to. And he pulled in so many favors from his side on the back end, so that his lighting people were there, his comforts were met, and those are also all done for us. Yeah. And then from our side, we asked and begged everybody to give us the lowest rates possible, and we pulled off a visually stunning music video to a degree I've never achieved in my actual career when I was label backed. I have never seen a music video of mine that looks that good, but all the intent was right, and everybody in the room came with this joy of making something good, without the label pressure and the money and everything that can sometimes cloud the judgment. Because
it's your baby.
It's my baby, and they all treat it as their own too, because now they're all stakeholders. So that was, I think, the coolest part. I learned so much about myself as a musician, as a producer, as an end-to-end director of a project. And I wouldn't take it back. I probably can't do that all the time because it's an exhausting process, and sometimes you need the money and the backing. But I needed to do it once just to see if I could.
Is it harder than ever, do you feel, to stand out and be recognized, to stand out from the crowd in 2025, or is
Yes.
it?
Yeah.
Because there's so many voices.
There's so many voices, and the industry democratized. So I'll tell you from my example, it's the easiest example ever. I was a one of one in the year that happened. After COVID, there's 9,000 of me. And I think it's great that people are making music in their bedrooms and getting, the opportunity to interact with millions and millions of people. There's people who have way outdone my career with the same exact blueprint. And that should be the case. That means we're moving in the right direction. And really, really good people are getting to leave their bedrooms and deliver their music worldwide. So I think right now that it's tougher than ever to be a musician in India. But opportunities have scaled it's insane to think about what's out there once you make it.
Okay.
So we didn't have package tours before. That's a post-COVID thing. Nobody other than Prateek Kuhad was doing a properly packaged tour and headlining their own multi-city, India and worldwide.
And people are showing up.
People are showing up. Tickets are selling. The infrastructure, and I mean that in a very literal sense, also didn't exist. Venue spaces weren't ready to go. So we're all learning and growing after the pandemic. In the past 5 years, the amount of opportunity there is now limited because we are oversaturated with talent. But once you get there, it's limitless where your career can go because
but it's
now
harder
we have the
than
resources.
Ever to get there. Is that fair? It's harder than ever.
It's harder than ever to get there, but
once
you're there, it's amazing what's out there because everybody now has the capacity to resource you in a way that 7 years ago when I started, we didn't have that. We didn't have any infrastructure around touring, packaging an artist, building a fan base, because we were so Bollywood dependent still. So if you make it, you are blessed. If you're somebody right now who's 24, I'm so excited for you because the world is really your oyster. And I'm saying the world because now it's not even limited to India. We're getting superstars out of our country, and our music is reaching the world.
I did want to ask you about the infrastructure and just the live music scene booming, but first, based on that, in the idea of, if you make it, is it fair to say that do you not need the Bollywood machinery as much as you did 5 years ago as a musician or a singer to make it? Is sort of social media or YouTube enough? Or because traditionally it's always been you need to be sort of part of a film, that's how you get the audience. Is that still the case? Am I still dependent?
You don't need it at all. It's pretty liberating and awesome to think that, because it used to be that you were so down the line of who's important in the room. And I'm saying that's fine. That's just the mechanism of being part of a film. you are the least important person in the process. There is a music composer, there's his own team, which is your lyricists, it's your people who are doing technical work and, you know, co-composing, producing for them. So then you're answerable first to your music director, who themselves is answerable to their director and producer, and sometimes even their actor, who has a say in what music they want in the soundtrack. You are not important at all. You come here as a work for hire to kind of just do your job, give your voice, and leave.
And best case scenario, find some sort of an audience.
Yeah. So now you don't owe anyone anything. If you're good, and if not good, then at least you're able to connect with people, that's all it takes. And I actually don't have an opinion on if that's good or bad for music. I think we are so quick to forget that the rest of the world has always had a variety of types of musicians.
Yep.
Billy Joel is not technically gifted as Mariah Carey or Beyonce, but he's allowed to exist because he's a better storyteller.
There's a place for both.
There's a place for both. So India's getting to experience that now for the first time. And it's really exciting that, you know, we waited decades. I'm saying this of me. I waited so long to be part of something or to be invited into certain rooms because unfortunately pre-COVID that was still the standard.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, I hope I get a call from Vishal Shekhar and I hope one day I make a song with them. And it hasn't happened. I'd love to. I'm not saying it's their fault. I'm saying there's, like I said, 20 other people who make decisions too.
And you no longer need to wait around for that phone
Now
call.
you don't have to wait around for that. Now you can be Vishal Shekhar if you're incredibly talented. And obviously, you know, they also come from that school. Vishal comes from independent music. So it's amazing to see that now, 20 years ago, 25 years ago, what he had started in his career, the new wave of it is happening right now, but it's happening at scale. There's so many people. And I get really proud to see a top 10 India list that is now evenly 50-50, if not sometimes more 60-40, 70-30, independent versus non-film.
Yeah.
It is a really, really cool thing. Like, I remember the first wave of this in 2021 when Brown Monday came out, and I was like, wow, a song has, like, you know, shot up the charts so quickly. Now it's like, it's kind of tough to find the film songs.
Yeah.
In the top
Is that
20.
not also because music is sort of slowly going away? There's like 5 films a year which have a big album.
Exactly.
Yeah, so.
That's what. And I think, great, it opens the playing field for an entire industry to work at its optimal, you know, level. We were so constrained to doing this one thing, the one way that we knew for 70 years. Now it's like anything is possible. Just go and make. And do it out of your bedroom. We don't care. If people are connecting, that's all that matters.
But give me some advice. If I am in 2025, I'm a 24-year-old, I really hope and think that
You look great for 24.
I've had a lot of work done. No, if I hope to be the next you,
Sure.
and I'm guessing I'm leveraging tools like YouTube, social media, what should I be doing? What advice would you have? What are the biggest pitfalls and mistakes you see people make when they're trying to sort of make it on the internet?
I'm going to give you guys, this is like, I should be paying, you should be paying me, sorry, for this advice I'm going to give you. Your brand building and persona is as essential to everything you're doing as your music. And that's the only way you'll build fans. You cannot be so stuck in your own world of just being excellent as a musician that you abandon interfacing with the public. And I'm saying from your bedroom, open yourself up as a person to having conversations with your fans. Go on live, start engaging with them, start saying your thank yous, build a whole community. That community builds your community for you. That's what fan bases do. So if you unlock 10 people who are crazy about you, they'll bring 100 people in to the cult of Lisa Mishra. Let's say, take myself as an example. You take that community, they do all of your work for you after that in terms of marketing, right? You don't have to spend a dime. Your budgets can be still in your pocket. Save that for your production of your song, save that for the music video that you want to make. And it's so essential to also have a certain look and a packaging because we're now a visually led generation. Everything is Instagram, everything is YouTube. I want to see this person. I can't accept a playback anymore. I need a personality. I need an independent musician who is an actual human being. So how do you dress? How do you present yourself? How is your personality showing through in that? And the only way to stand out is to literally be yourself. If you package yourself and you distribute your look as somebody else, it's you know, like, oh, I want to look like Tyla. Don't. There's already a Tyla.
Be you.
Yeah, be yourself and be so yourself, it's unignorable. So I think like my pro tip is make good music, be a great performer, but simultaneously start building your fan bases by interfacing with who's consuming your music. And then my real tip after that, you've scaled, become a good performer. You owe it to your audience who wants to see you live to attend shows, imbibe what they're doing, learn technique, branch out and talk to people who are expert live performers and ask how it's done. Start rehearsing, start building a really tight band. Put all of the elements together so that when they ask you, hey, you want to do your first show? You're like, I've been ready.
Yeah.
Let's go. So those are all the elements you'll ever really need. Is branding will help you with your money. Music will help you show the world that you're gifted. And performance will relay it to the masses. So
I think that's truly very specific and tangible advice.
yeah.
On the flip side, you are an artist. Is it ever exhausting, the brand part, the brand building part, is it ever exhausting that, I'm guessing your joy comes from making music, the thing, is it ever exhausting that in 2025 you kind of have a lot in common, or you have to have a lot in common with a content creator?
Yeah.
Because the sort of the PR, all that hustle, whatever word you want to call it, takes away from the craft or the energy.
Totally. I think it's about how you want to grow, right? In 2025, don't think it's possible to be a recluse.
Without doing that.
If you want to scale, this is what it takes. That is reality.
Yeah.
No one is going to be able to come to your bedroom in Amritsar and say, okay, now I can engage with you. You're not going to build a base beyond a certain level if you're stuck in your bedroom. One day you will yourself want to present this on a stage, right? So you have to start putting these little efforts in. And that's like any job. Treat it as a job. You can't just show up and say, I want to be the CEO of a company. Where's your resume?
Yeah.
What have you done to get there? Anybody will ask the same questions of you. So I feel like it's a bit pompous to ignore the, other qualifications you have to become, an Anuv Jain. He's an excellent example of somebody who connects with his audience deeply. Yeah. And that comes from years and years of interfacing online with them through these live videos before he ever left the bedroom, left Ludhiana, went on a stage. So that guy is not out there, in the flashiest way ever. He's been able to design it in his favor and still have the same outcome, if not a much bigger outcome than expected. He's not selling himself out at all. He's retained his authenticity, but manipulated that authenticity. Manipulate is a harsh word. Capitalize on that. Still a harsh word. Nicely used all of his, authenticity and packaged it in a way that he can still scale.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think if you ignore this part of your job, then you have to also accept that there is a point beyond which you can't grow.
You mentioned sort of the live music scene, and I did want to sort of pick your brain on a couple of elements there. It does seem like it's booming now more than ever. Internationally, I was reading that Taylor Swift had the first ever $1 billion tour ever.
And Beyonce.
Yeah. I was reading that in India, Book My Show said that over 500,000 Indians last year traveled cities to attend music tours. So is that fair to say, if you are someone who's made it to that degree, it is more exciting than ever to just tour and have access to that world?
Guys, let me tell you, it is the best part of being a musician. Being on a stage and real people in real time are able to access you and give you that energy. See, in my job, at my scale, I get to interface with a couple thousand people, and already that's a lot. When I opened for Ed Sheeran, my goodness, it blew my mind because they were there for him. And I was like, oh, this is what it feels like to be a superstar.
Yeah.
And you're just like high off the fumes of being like, wow, this many people are here. The stakes are high. I have to be excellent. So as much as you're giving them, they're like roaring it back towards you. And it's truly, nothing in the world can compare to the exhilaration of being a musician on stage. And some parts of, like, now that I act, I'm like, I wish actors could experience this, And if you have ever seen Ranveer sing on a stage on his music promotions, that's what it is, right? Of course he loves himself as a person of his craft and as an actor and the, fine technical abilities that he has. The minute you see this guy on stage, he's flying.
Yeah.
because we're born to entertain,
Yeah.
and we're born to be, you know, in front of our own audiences. That is incredible. Even if you don't go on stage, if you ever see a video of an actor attending their own movie while the public watches,
It's the greatest feeling.
it's the greatest feeling. You're getting the like universe's worth of like it's all reverberating back to you. So yeah, I think that's, I mean, in my opinion, it's the best part of being a musician. Not everybody will agree.
I'm still stuck on when I opened for Ed Sheeran. That's probably the coolest sentence I've heard in my life. But
Oh my God, it was so cool. It's 40,000 people. It was his biggest show on this tour. And I was really blessed to have had that opportunity because there were many, many cities on the tour. And Delhi's my favorite city to play. No offense, guys, to everyone else.
How dare you?
I know. Delhi's got the best crowd energy. They just want to jump and dance and enjoy. So we walked onto stage and we had a very limited setup because he was doing a solo acoustic set. So we couldn't be so loud because it's kind of, you have to stay within the mood of what the actual artist, the primary artist, is delivering. But I was like, how are we going to pull this off? It's just four of us on a line on stage. And we walked on, and then you hear the roar of applause as you walk on, and you're like, let's go.
That's for me.
That's for me. It wasn't. It was for Ed Sheeran.
Yeah,
but they are giving, I mean, it's 40,000 people, so it's going to sound like it's for you no matter who it's actually for.
And whether you like it or not, in that moment, that is your audience.
That's my gig, and it's my responsibility to pull it off. And what happens then, this magical thing happens. All of these people who would have never had exposure to you are suddenly in your DMs, following you on Instagram, asking when is the next show. So you really have to like cherish that opportunity and make it the best moment of your life because God knows when you'll have that many people at your disposal again. I hope so.
Yeah.
But it is pretty incredible. That was the greatest show of my life, without a doubt.
I also have to ask you, there does seem to be a bit of a weird trend, because that sounds like a phenomenal experience, but you know, we've seen this with Anuv Jain recently, we saw it with Jasleen for Coldplay, and there was a lot of backlash.
Yeah.
And why is that? Was there are these isolated incidents? It just seems to be that a lot of people got very, very annoyed.
Yeah, I think there's a couple different things that are happening here. I think my opinion about this is, could everybody have prepared more? Yeah. Of course. Yeah. That's a fact. It's okay, though, to have bad days. I'm also not 100 on 100 in every single show.
You're a human being.
I'm a human being. And I give myself and everybody else in this industry grace, especially, let's specifically talk about Jasleen. Her Bombay shows were 70,000 people. Her Ahmedabad shows were 135,000 people.
That's a lot of zeros.
It was Coldplay's biggest show of their own lives. That's a lot of pressure. And you're gonna have snags, and some things will not go exactly as you want. Does it excuse everything? No. I think preparation is necessary for everybody. I think when you're being platformed in such incredible spaces that honestly nobody else has access to, make it happen. Whatever you do, like, just give a great show, be really, really prepared, and put that work in. You don't have to worry so much about the PRing and the, selling of self. It's going to happen.
Yeah.
There's more than a lakh people watching you. Trust me, they will post about you if you're really good.
Yeah.
So that's there. Preparation could have been better. Fair. Now, my issue with this is different. My issue is how disappointing it is to see our peers
from the industry use this opportunity to swarm in and hungrily bash one of their own. It is the public's job to have an opinion. They will have an opinion. What's that phrase? It's in Hindi. It's a really famous saying. It's a song, I think. Kehna unka kaam hai. It's like it. Yeah. Especially in the social media.
Yeah. It's like it is their job.
Yeah.
Let them be trolls. We have to stand with our own. We all have each other's numbers, guys. All of us have access to each other. Just send a text.
Yeah.
Hey, buddy, could have been a better show. Not super happy with what I saw, but if you want, I'm here as a resource. Let's figure it out for you. Ask me whatever you need to for your next live shows. I have tons of experience. Happy to give you some notes.
But publicly.
We don't need to do that. They're getting that anyways. It's really not our job. It's so deeply unkind. And it presents us in a really fractured and, terrible light to the public, they're also able to see that we're not backing each other. They're also able to see, well, I saw 300 people comment on this video of Anuv Jain. Sounds like this industry hates each other.
Does it also legitimize, if I'm a troll, you make me feel like I'm okay to...
You're adding fuel, right? And you're sustaining a moment that should have passed. Some of these things are, like you don't recover from it career-wise. And the impacts it'll have are horrible. This is somebody's livelihood that they worked for also.
Even like mental health-wise.
Mental health-wise. And the other thing is, bigger than that, as peers, we know what it takes and how hard it is to finally have independent, both of them, largely independent artists at this level, to reach this incredible peak. They're also opening doors for us. Yeah. The infrastructure around live, a lot of it's benefiting from Anuv. So I'm thankful to the fact that we have great artists like this. We're making it easier for me to be able to pitch and package a tour. I am so grateful for Jasleen because she's a woman in an entirely male-dominated industry who writes and composes her songs. She went on that stage and she sang her own songs. Yeah. She didn't do playback. I have so much pride watching a woman be able to do that because I've not had that in my life. I'm also nowhere near how prolific her, body of work is. She is a great reminder to me to keep challenging myself as a songwriter and not be stuck in just singing, right? It's easy to sit at home and become a troll. It's harder to be them in that position. And heavy is the head, right? Yeah. That's the whole thing. It's really not our job to bring each other down publicly. Totally have the opinion, but reach out to them privately.
Especially if you're one of the peers, like you said.
Hey, and by the way, it takes the same amount of time. If you're going to waste 20 seconds trolling them on the internet, just send that message to them privately, kinder words, and just be like, wasn't great for you, bud. I think let's help you work on this. And I guarantee you, hearing that from somebody you admire means so much more. And it's such a great show of community than seeing that person like absolutely shred you apart publicly. And and then that becomes the headline. XYZ comments on.
The media machine will jump on that.
We don't need it. Let the public do their job. They're going to tear us apart anyway. We don't have to do it to each other.
You mentioned that she obviously wrote her own music and this wasn't sort of her performing something else. I read an interview of yours, I think it was from 2021, and I'm paraphrasing, but you said something along the lines of, this is obviously a massively male-dominated field, no surprises there. And you said that women are always put in a box as playback singers. You're not given the opportunity to write and be your own artist. Do you still feel like sort of female artists and musicians are still put in that box?
100%. 100%. I think what's happened is, let me lift the veil off of something for you guys. The fact that we have one, maybe two, recognizable names, I'm not even including myself, I'm saying at a high level in this industry that are women is a joke. There are so many resources. Do you know the money that this industry has? We see it. We see how well-funded male artists are. There's more than enough seats at the table to go around. There's more than enough money to make 10 Jasleens and Jonitas. But if we hyper-focus on giving this little bit, we as women are not valuing ourselves enough. We're not asking enough questions. We're fighting for scraps when there's a whole piece of bread right there. Metaphorically and literally, it's like right there. There's so much money and there's so many resources. They want us to keep fighting. They want us to be in little boxes because we're not supposed to be smart enough to come out and say, why? You had enough money to make terrible music with 25 male artists. I have really great music. Maybe just invest in one more person and we could have an industry that has true variety. We still don't have a #1 song, solo female, non-film, by a woman in 2025. We don't have a single, they're all features, look it up. So the maximum I can reach as an artist is to have a male feature. That's crap. We should be way beyond that by now. I think the whole world is beyond that. In the top 20 artists that you see worldwide, 8, 9 of them are women, if not more.
Beyonce, Taylor Swift, as you were just saying.
Ariana Grande, Beyonce, Taylor Swift. This year it's Ray, it's Olivia Dean, it's so many. Every year the world presents 20 new incredible women in music. There's so many women out there. Are you telling me in a country of 1.5 billion people, many of them women in music, we have no one? Yeah. That means we're being lazy. That means our stakeholders are undermining us, and we're accepting it. And we're not looking at a bigger picture. And I'm saying this as women to each other. Stop fighting with each other. It's not worth it. There's so much money. Yeah. Go fight with them. Just be like, this is BS. Yeah. Give me that tranche of cash. Look at this wagon of cash that's right there.
Is that the metric, a wagon of cash?
Yeah, a wagon of cash for all girls.
This reminds me really of I was talking to a screenwriter recently, and he told me that he said that there's a massive infrastructure in place to ensure that there are no superstar writers, to make sure they're not paid adequately, to make sure, because that disrupts the pipeline, and it sounds like it's very similar for female singers, that there is an infrastructure in place to make sure that the powers that be stay there.
That's what it is. I think it's really not. You don't have to ask a lot of questions or do a lot of digging to realize the people in power are not women.
Yeah.
So this whole idea of a boys' club, right? I just read an article that said, oh, actually, it's not a boys' club. It's merit. It's numbers. How do numbers happen?
How does merit get recognized?
Yeah, and it's, like statistically, there should be more women in music. And if we're not funding them, why? Because everybody in the room involved in the decision-making is not a woman. Yeah. So you have to be joking if you think, oh, well, festival headliners are all men because their numbers back it up and they're a sound investment. Mm-hmm. No one asked questions about who made them a sound investment. Yeah. Who are your label heads? Who are the writers? Who are the composers? Who are the marketing people? Who's their team? It's all men saying, yeah, bro, yeah, looking good, do na, too good.
This is always the same argument people give of female sports. It's always, but this person has the audience or this has the attention. And then, as you said, the infrastructure that enables that audience is in question.
Yeah.
Just coming back to sort of the live music scene, you mentioned infrastructure. I did want to ask you about that because it seems like now more than ever we have these massive international acts coming to India, which is amazing. Do we have the infrastructure? Because, I mean, from a comedian perspective, everyone from Trevor Noah to Anirudh are cancelling concerts because of issues.
Oh, yeah.
I find it hilarious that I went to a Jimmy Carr stand-up gig.
How did that go, by the way?
It was in Mulund for one.
Okay.
And it was delayed because there was a annual day function of a school before that. And this is like, we were in a comedy sketch, and so, yeah, there's been a lot of
How do you know it wasn't planned? It was all part of the show.
That was the biggest punchline of the night. But, yeah, I mean, a lot of people have talked about, do we have that infrastructure for sort of big acts or arenas? Because there does seem to be quite a few issues that have cropped up. Or are we getting there?
I think we need to do a lot of work. Yeah. I think, let me just tell you, like, from just music, right? Pushing up the decibels to the point that music is actually inaudible just to make us be like, yeah, but they won't notice if it's just loud. That's not how music works. You have to make sure the sound experience is also good for everybody, even in an open air space. Everyone in the world knows what it takes to put on a really good show sonically. Why are we not figuring that out? Yeah. We're inviting like the literal biggest names in the entire industry worldwide. Save for Weeknd and Drake and Beyonce and Taylor Swift, everyone's now been here, right? How are we not, it's like disrespectful to them as artists to present a show that's not audio equipped. That's the bare minimum.
And what signals are you putting out? What are they going to put on their famous people WhatsApp groups about?
They're going to be like, oh, what a crap show I just played, right? We can't be doing that. I think, if you're bringing down such massive names that people really are paying insane amounts of money, by the way, to attend. Per our cost of living, the tickets are egregiously highly priced.
Ed Sheeran went up to 30,000, I think. So it was like 30,000.
Don't even ask about Coldplay. It was nuts. Yeah. So I think that's, when we put on a good show, it's evident. When Ed Sheeran put on his solo show in Bombay, it was excellent. When Coldplay put on their shows, it was excellent. Yeah. And you can justify the tickets costing that much because the experience was good that we built around it. Now, I feel like we're so hungry to invite everybody to India. We're not doing the hard work of outfitting the spaces and creating good experiences. That's more necessary than just saying, all of these artists happen to be in the vicinity of India, why don't we just call them down here as well? Because they don't know what they're signing up for. They're like, oh sure, India's a big porous audience, I'll go to Mumbai. We're not showing them Mumbai in this experience, right? They're gonna walk away being like, what was that? Why could that have not been better? So yeah, I think we have a really, really long way to go. Where I will say, like a little positive note is clearly we are capable.
Yeah.
We are capable of putting on excellent shows that the experience is smooth for the consumer and it's amazing for the performer and everybody gets what they need out of it. Like I said, we saw it with Coldplay. If we can do it at scale, at the largest scale, we can certainly do that in small venues where you can more tightly control the elements.
Yeah. You mentioned ticket prices. I do have to ask you about that because there's been a lot of talk about this in the US specifically, you know, about the insane sort of cost of tickets, and that seems to be the case here as well. Do you feel it's justified? Is it as simple as demand and supply? And also the other thing I wanted to ask was because there's a lot of talk in the US about Ticketmaster, right? You have these platforms that are just sort of strangling the consumer and sort of
price gouging.
Yeah, as much as possible. Do we have like a similar problem here, or is it just?
I think we're not yet there in terms of like asking too much of the individual spender. I also think when the market is being flooded with 50 artists in one season, you do feel that strain on your wallet because now you're like, dude, I'm spending $8,000 every weekend, sometimes twice a week to go see something because everyone is flying down to India. In an ideal world, I would actually just cut down the number of artists we're bringing in.
Interesting.
And it will help the consumer know where their money is going and better, financially judge how they want to spend. And two, I think it'll help a lot of these infrastructural problems as well and putting on a good show. I think in our race to show the world that we can accommodate everything and everyone, the consumer is lost and the performer is lost as well. I don't think necessarily we're at the point that people are paying way, way, way too much. But I honestly do think I could be wrong. I don't want to assume that I'm like the authority on that. I think definitely certain shows, we aren't paying nearly what the experience is.
Yeah.
Like the reverse. We're paying way too much and the experience is terrible.
That's because you feel like we're not putting up a good enough experience.
Yeah. So I think if you're charging, $5,000 for a show and you're putting on a great show, charge the $5,000. That's fine. But don't charge $5,000 and then be like, hey, this school kids have to go on first and then
it's a surreal
then we'll get
mind.
started. Yeah. So that becomes surreal. You're like, what is happening? Where is my money?
Is this part of the gig?
Yeah, exactly. So you can justify your ticket costs against a good experience.
But this sort of boom that we're feeling of people are really out after COVID. It's not just for international artists, right? You feel like even the Indian artists are really getting more sort of, in terms of touring, is that bigger than it's ever been?
It's bigger than it's ever been. Yeah. I think we're doing too much, guys. Slow down. I think I'd like to see a little bit of a slowdown on the number of artists we're bringing in. So, by the way, it's also a problem of if we choke up every single weekend with an international act, we hurt our domestic market.
Okay.
Now, all those dates are not available to India acts. I think it's actually a detriment to us as performers because I don't have weekends anymore. If every week somebody else is flying in, they're not going to come to my show.
Is it also a money thing, like you're saying, of if I'm going to spend X amount, I'm going to then do it for the international artist, not the Indian artist I love?
Because I don't know about that yet because I don't know on the inside what the decision making is about this. But
I just
I'll
meant
say,
that this person's only coming once. It does feel like more of an event if someone.
But I'm not part of that. Yeah, because mainly because I'm not as big an artist to be part of that conversation at all. So they're never going to be like, oh, we're spending 9 crores on Lisa. They're going to be like,
it's Ed Sheeran or Lisa.
It's Ed Sheeran or Lisa, and sorry, it can't be both. So no, I'm not even in the universe of these conversations. So I don't know about that.
Yeah.
But yeah, that would be great one day, guys. Make it happen.
But you feel like there are too many and that sort of, I guess, that limits
I think it has choked up the market quite a bit. I think everyone is suffering. Our domestic acts are not getting dates and not getting that same level of audience and fan base building that we wish we could have. And then our international acts and our consumers are not getting great experiences either.
But in a warped
Also, by the way, it's a marginal utility curve.
Yeah.
Over time, you lose your fascination with people coming in because you're like, abhi gaye the na 3 din pehle this person came. Why?
It doesn't feel like an event. Yeah.
And again and again. And that was this season. I was fatigued. I was like, guys, there's too much. I'm saying even I'm feeling the pinch on my wallet.
I did want to ask you about touring. I wanted to ask, to get a sense of the money side of it. If I'm an artist, I've, in quotes, made it, maybe I've sort of done playback singing on a few tracks. In terms of sustaining myself financially, is that then touring? Is that really where that sort of comes from, or is it?
In India, luckily, we have different markets.
Okay.
I think more so than anywhere in the world, we have a private market. So we get our bills paid from doing corporate shows, wedding shows, if you want to take them up, of course. And trust me, everyone takes them up. let me also dispel that myth. Everyone does a private show or 5.
Yeah.
The biggest artists will just charge whatever,
But you have that option, which is
you have that
wonderful.
option, so it saves us a little bit. So in a tight season like this for me, where I'm not getting public show dates, it's been really great on the back end to have played more private events and sort of make up for that loss.
Yeah.
So touch wood, we still have a very robust private industry.
Nice. But is that, no, that makes sense. But is that still true for, at what point do I get that? Is it sort of?
I actually think it's easier to get that than to wait for your branding opportunities and other, streams of revenue to come in.
Yeah.
To be able to earn from brands, you have to necessarily be at a certain level of visibility. Whereas you don't have to have that in the private music market, because there's always a need at any level for a musician at an event. So if somebody's budget is 50,000, there'll be a musician who's able to meet that.
Yeah.
If somebody's budget is 50 lakhs, there'll be musicians who are able to meet that. If you're Jennifer Lopez flying in, I don't even want to know how much money is involved.
It's a bit
I'm
more than
too poor to wrap my head around that.
I also wanted to ask you about acting. You said something very interesting in an interview. You said that acting is something that very much excites you. You've been auditioning since you first came to Bombay. But you also said that part of the reason you did it was to, in quotes, diversify. So you didn't put all your eggs in one basket.
100%. There's tough years, guys, for musicians. So you got to have other things going on.
So would that be your advice for someone who's sort of where you were in 2018? Look at doing other things to just sort of mix it up?
Yeah. And find those other things in your actual passions.
Okay.
I grew up doing a bit of musical theater. I'm a very, big personality to be around. So naturally, I was excited to start auditioning from the beginning. And by the way, that wasn't an intentional decision that I'm setting up, different verticals, whatever. Yeah. At that point, I was auditioning because it was fun.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to see if there's any possibility I could enter that market, because I happen to be in the city that most resources it. Yeah. So why not? Let me try my hand. It humbles you. It took me 5 years to book a gig because I wasn't there yet. Mm. And that's fine. You just have to start building, simultaneously in the direction of where you see your maximal result. I was not good for a very long time. I can't really say I'm still that good. But
you're enjoying it.
I'm enjoying it, and I also am passionate about it. And if I bring that passion in every single day and a willingness to learn, at some point, you'll start making money off of it. And you don't have to singularly base your entire, financial stability on one thing, because that's a really tough place to be. Any good business person has a portfolio. Yeah. So if you want to be successful in business, do more than one thing. If you're a musician, but you're also a really stellar producer and a really good songwriter, put yourself in those rooms.
Artistic side hustles.
Yes, you have to. Like my band, they're not just touring musicians, they're active producers. Yeah. They're excellent music producers. So they're called in all the time. So they do session music, which is like, if you come in and we need a guitarist on a track, so they can play session guitar. Then they go home and they start producing songs for people in the industry. Then I'm sure there's people in my band who can also write songs and compose songs. So you have to always be hustling, because this is a freelance gig and there's no guaranteed paycheck.
I guess these are the things you have to do to enable the thing you love. Is that fair?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think if it greases the wheel, do it 100%. Otherwise you'll just get stuck.
Do the two inform each other in interesting ways, like acting and singing?
All the time. Yeah. I think part of the joy I have of being on stage is to be so big in my emotions, and I get to carry this personality into acting. Yeah. Whereas if I'm standing in a studio and I'm very technically delivering a song, I'm not emoting facially or with all of the technique I have as an actor is informed by years and years and years of live performance and knowing exactly the connection point with another human being with expression. Yeah. So now tone it down. I don't have to be this big as I am on stage, and then subtly sort of build that into who you are as an actor. I really love it. And then acting for me informs my music the same way. I'm like, I can take this sort of skill of emoting, bring it into my music, and bring it into my songwriting as well.
Is that ever weird that an average month for you could be in front of a massive audience, and there's other times where you might just be you on a laptop trying to write a song, and there's other times where it's just you in a studio.
I have an exciting life. Yeah. It's really cool.
But that range it's got to be strange in terms of the.
You know what I was saying last year when my album was coming out was a really fun time because, you know, we're doing fine tuning and final touches on my music videos. So I'm sitting on edits and approvals at the same time that we're doing podcasts, radio, and press for the album releasing. At the same time, we were still filming royals. So we had our Bombay shoot schedule going on too, and my sister and brother-in-law were visiting. So they're seeing every single aspect of my life happening within one tight week. In 7 days, they saw me as a musician, as a business person, as somebody producing and technically sitting on their own music video, working on marketing plans and strategies, being on set and acting. And it's a really nice like 360 that they got to see of me as an artist. Yeah, at any time I could be really doing anything.
Just lastly, if there's one thing, what's the one thing you wish you knew about navigating the industry, either music or acting, when you first came down in 2018?
Yeah, I think acting I won't give any sage advice because I don't have any quite yet. With music, I'll say this of, you know, this time, I really wish I had learned the importance of consistent fan base building early on. And the irony is I had it before I came into this industry because they'd watched me on YouTube for a decade. And I had all of these like very interpersonal relationships with my fans, which we now call parasocial. But I had a really, really great connection with all of my consistent listeners. I knew their usernames, I knew who they were. And the community fan building, touch wood, to this day has lasted. But somewhere, the industry becomes very distracting and the bigness of your life takes over. And I forgot that and I abandoned my responsibility to them. And I'm reminded of these things when I win a film fair and I read 300 comments and they're like, I have been with you since day one. And you're humbled and you're like, I have work to do. I have to go back and do that again.
But that's very sweet.
Yeah, and then, you know what's crazy, within 24 hours, 2 things happened. I posted this video, you know, there's this trend going on right now where it's like, when you're 20 years old, someone tells you this, you must do that, you know, that reel. I did this of Tarifa. It's like, I think the reel was like, you're 20 years old and you are contemplating adding one last cover before going to bed. And then it flips to everybody singing Tarifa and 20,000 people.
That's insane.
And it was like, you must upload that cover. So that reel started trending. And then less than 24 hours later, I won a film fair. So simultaneously, I have 300 comments here, 300 comments here. And the narrative is, we have been here for every moment. And this is such a long journey because I've done this for 18 years. I started in 2007 on YouTube.
That's insane.
So I owe it to them now to go back and be that person that they grew up with. That's literally it. They grew up with me. From 13, they've been with me. So I have to make sure that I give this energy back. Because if they're still here and you know, there's 300 of them or 600 of them commenting. If I had been more consistent in my relationship building, it would be thousands of people.
But it's impossible to find a balance, right?
Yeah, and I'm saying I'm not hungry for the number. It's actually just a reminder that I'm not doing enough to give back to them for their consistency. I have to be just as good a steward of our relationship.
But that's wonderful of you. I don't know many artists, you know.
I think you get humbled when big moments happen and you're like, oh no, you love me that much? Okay, I have to do better. I have to do better.
But no, thank you so much. Thank you for the wisdom, the perspective. And it's clearly been an insane journey. And
it's been wild.
I can't wait to see what the next 5 years looks like.
Thank you so much. This has been so lovely.
Thank you.
Hey guys, this is Lisa Mishra. You're watching me on The Hot Take on Hook.